This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with Chief Winemaker for Wolf Blass, Mr. Chis Hatcher. How are you today, Chris?
Jamie, it's fantastic to be here in Canada. Great place for Wolf Blass and very successful for us. So it's fantastic to be here.
Now, you've been awarded some rather interesting things in Canada as of late. Would you mind telling us a little bit about those awards?
Yeah, look, we've had a fantastic success here with two major wine competitions here, the Intervin and Wolf Blass won Winery of the Year, which was just sensational for us in this market. And also Anthony Gismondi's wine competition, the Wine Awards of Canada, World Wine Awards of Canada. We had great success there, including our Gold Label Sparkling winning the Australian Wine of the Year.
Now, it's not just in Canada that you've had this fantastic success. You were just telling me a little bit about some more international competitions where you have won some quite prestigious awards.
Oh, most definitely, Jamie. One of the things from my point of view for Wolf Blass is we're an international company, and it's great to win wine competitions around the world. So this year it started off winning the International Winemaker of the Year at a very large wine competition in London called the International Wine Challenge. Something like 13,000 entries in that wine competition, and to win International Red Winemaker of the Year, which we did at that wine competition, was just sensational. Then we followed up in China. We won the Australian Producer of the Year, and then obviously here, as I said, great competitions here in Canada. And the International Wine and Spirit Competition in London is just announcing their awards, and we've won 3 trophies already for our Platinum Shiraz, won Best Single Vineyard Wine, and our White Label Riesling got Best Single Vineyard White Wine and also Best Riesling of Show. And we've also been nominated for Australian Producer of the Year, so we'll find out in mid-November if we've won that.
Well, that's absolutely terrific, and it's great when you see that consistency of awards all across the world, because all of these different tasting panels normally come up with quite different results, but it's fantastic that you've got that consistency now.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it's quite amazing when you think, you know, the British or the London competitions are judged by English. In Asia, the Chinese awards are judged by Asians, and here in Canada, all Canadian judges. So to have the consistency, and the wines are winning consistently in each of those competitions, is just fantastic. So things like our gold labels, our grey labels and platinums have just been sensationally successful in all of those comps.
Your bosses must be over the moon.
Yeah, definitely. Pay rise hasn't come yet, but at least I keep my job for another year.
Now, you've been at Wolf Blass for quite some time now. How many years is that?
Yeah, actually I rolled over 25 years this year, which has been quite amazing. And originally when I went to Wolf Blass, it was going to be for like a 5-year stint. But the development, the evolution of the business has just been fantastic. And our dedication to quality today is exactly the same as it was when I first started. In fact, probably even more so. And that's what drives me. I certainly wouldn't work for a company that didn't believe in what's in the glass is the most important thing.
Would you mind telling me a little bit about that evolution, the evolution that you have witnessed over the last 25 years, going through both the peaks and the troughs of the Australian wine industry and how it relates to Wolf Blass?
Yeah, well, certainly it has evolved a lot. When I first came into the industry, which was in the mid-1970s, most of the wines were pretty simple, and they had depth of flavour, and they were nice, easy drinking wines. And certainly today, the modern Australian wine industry, it's all about regionality and difference. And even wines like our Yellow Label. Yellow Label Cabernet today is an infinitely better wine than when I first started at Wolf Blass back 25 years ago. And that's primarily around the fact that we have much better fruit available to us now. We have professional people working in vineyards, and so the quality that we get as winemakers is fantastic. So it's no longer making compromises from the vineyard through to the finished wine. It's really selecting fruit for each of the individual wines that we make.
And this goes as far as, I believe, the Yellow Label will be labelled regionally in the future.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming for, that within hopefully 12 months, but maybe 18 months, that we'll be able to have our Yellow Label wines as regional wines, which adds that extra dimension of interest to the wines. The quality will be there. The quality is certainly there today, but it just adds that extra element of interest and makes the wines more interesting to go back to if people haven't looked at a Yellow Label for some time.
Awards and recognition aside, and I know people say this is like picking a favorite child. Of the current releases, what are you particularly proud of?
I think Chardonnay, without doubt, is the wine that I'm most proud of. If we look back over history, Australian Chardonnay was pretty much a big oaky, heavy wine, and today our Chardonnay is world class, and even our yellow label in wine competitions does exceptionally well against wines out of France. So Chardonnay in particular, I just love our gold label, and we just bring out our 2012 white label Chardonnay, which is from the Adelaide Hills, the same as our gold label, but it's from a small region within our Adelaide Hills, a place called the Piccadilly Valley, which produces sensational wines. And to me, world-class wines like Chardonnay, it's something I'm very proud of, that we've been able to evolve to that and continue that. So that's why it's really my favourite.
It's interesting you say Chardonnay, because from my point of view, quite often the Chardonnay yellow label became the whipping boy for the Australian wine industry, because it was a little bit perhaps one-dimensional, shall I say? And I'm sorry if, with all due respect there, Chris.
No.
How has that wine evolved?
Well, it's the same principle as we use with our premium wines. It has better fruit, so there's much more cool climate material going into yellow label. So quite often it'll have a very large percentage of Adelaide Hills, areas like Eden Valley, so very cool regions. And the oak we use today, we use 100% French oak compared to 10, 15 years ago when it was all American oak. So the finesse and the style of the wine is much more world class today. And I think anyone that hasn't looked at Chardonnay, and a lot of people don't like Chardonnay because they see them as oaky wines and they remember the wines that we made 10 or 15 years ago, I'd recommend that people go back and have a look at Chardonnay, because it is one of the really great wines of the world.
Well, I will most certainly be doing that and look forward to tasting your wines later today. Chris, really great to see you again, and thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution in Toronto.
Jamie, absolute pleasure.
Take care.
Thank you.